data engineer, data scientist in 3 days. Hear a lot of those propagandas, like, okay guys, my name is Yuri. I am Brazilian originally. I'm a solutions architect / data engineer at Nokia.
But why Budapest? How?
I study at BME.
BME, wow.
Yeah, I did.
Shout out to all BME students here.
Before you think about certifications, before you think about anything left, I started searching for internships.
Your system was entirely in Russian?
Yeah.
Do you know Russian language?
Absolutely not. What you see nowadays is Power BI, for example.
That's why math is important, I say.
This will be a little bit bloody. What questions I do need to answer? And this is where you start in data.
So hello everybody, it's our first episode of New Day podcast. Welcome to our venue. It's my name is Baybars, you can call me Bars, and my colleague.
My name is Diaz. Hey guys. That's kind of awkward, because it's the first time we're recording a podcast, but I'm glad to present our guest here, Yuri. It's good to have you, man.
Good to hear. Yeah. Good to be here, guys.
Great.
My pleasure.
This is a podcast about personal development, career growth, and finding a lot of career opportunities. And today, our first guest is my colleague Yuri. He's working in one of the international companies here in Budapest. As an experienced guy, we decided to invite him and get some knowledge. Right, Yuri? Could you please tell about yourself?
You start with a very difficult question, I suppose, right? Okay, guys, my name is Yuri. I am Brazilian originally. I moved to Budapest in 2018, sorry. And I've been living here since. I'm a solutions architect / data engineer at Nokia. And I think that's the shortest description that I can get.
No problem, sure. So walking through your LinkedIn profile, I found a lot of very interesting spotlights. You work in one of the best companies in Budapest, and I just want to ask, can you walk us through your journey into data engineering? What led you to pursue this career?
Okay. If I want to go back really to the beginning, I would say that I definitely started in 2015 to be I would say when my journey with data started. But I've been working since I was 19 years old. So my first job, to be honest with you guys, was a math teacher.
Oh.
So yeah, I was
it's a solid background, I would say. It's a solid background for data engineering.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, I do not know if it's because it's a more Brazilian thing, but it was always a parallel for me because due to the circumstances at my home, at least, I needed to always work and study at the same time.
Yeah.
So I needed to get some money to do whatever I wanted at the time, and the first initial job really started when I applied to absolutely check people on when they were doing their exams.
Yeah.
So people were doing the final grades and everything, and I was just there to spot them all, And at once, one of the teachers, the math teachers, she suffered some injury. I don't recall exactly what she had. And they asked us, the guys that were checking the exams, is does anyone here knows math? And I decided,
raising a hand,
let's do it. Yeah,
but it was a hustle thing, or did you it just an accident?
I think. How to put this in perspective for you, but I think this was the nicest and toughest thing that I have ever done in my life.
Wow.
I think teaching is something that really opens your mind about whatever kind of profession do you want to do, because I think on a daily basis you do this with people, right? You teach something, you learn something in exchange. So it was a nice thing for me at the time. I mean, I was doing engineering at the university, so, and I remember being good at math at the time. So I said, like, why not? I mean, like, he really asked. I'm not so sure if I fought through all of this, if I had this, catharsis. Oh my God, like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I took the challenge and it was literally my first one. So, and they liked me on the first day. And one of the, how do I say, like I could call it some sort of support teacher. So, because they had their main teacher like on the regular times of the school classes.
Yeah.
And they had like some extra classes in the afternoons. So that was so
pretty flexible.
And I replaced the other girl that was like doing like the extra classes for the kids at the time.
That's pretty much. Yeah. In terms of certifications, what kind of certifications would you recommend to students here watching us in order to set a career in data analytics, science, or engineering? What's the first steps?
My story with coding and programming and this kind of things did not become because I was like a geek guy that was in the basement playing video games. And to be honest, I was just like lazy at one day, and I was tired of doing the same stuff as
Yeah.
So specifically this 60 or 7% of the part of the job that you do not like, if you could make ways to do this better and faster, this is where coding enters. I mean, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
You asked about certifications and stuff that you need to do. There is something that is beforehand. I think even before you get to data, I feel like I don't want to get into terms here like about what we do and technical terms. I don't think this is the reason that I'm here, but it's important. The only thing that it's important to say about data is that data is one thing and information is the other. So any professional data works in this midfield between those two things. So transforming something that is huge or
chaotic,
in something that might be useful. So before you think about certifications, before you think about anything, you should understand, okay, like what questions I do need to answer. So before anything, I mean, like what information I should provide. And this is where you start in data. Because this question, you lead to all the others. So, okay, if I need to answer this, what kind of data do I need? Where do I go for that? So people think about this data stuff like how you get, I don't know, like to coding and data camp, and I'm going to be a data engineer, a data scientist in 3 days. And obviously, I mean, you hear a lot of those propagandas, like become rich and, crazy.
Success.
And you learn the method, but you do not know the main reason that you do it. People don't understand that this is a path and that the most important is the questions that you need to answer from those things.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you do it.
But why Budapest? How you ended up like coming from Brazil to Hungary?
I mean, like going back to the professional side until I reached the data, so to say, like, so in the meantime, I needed to do both. I needed to do university and I needed to work. After 1 year and something, I think, like I said, it was the nicest thing that I've done. And I think like if this was my beginning, this will be my end, regardless of what I will be teaching in the meantime, if it's math or not. But this is what I want to do at the end of my career as well, for sure. I always had to make it to make myself available to work at the same time because I needed the money. So after this, I moved to a construction site.
Oh.
So.
But it was in Brazil, right?
Yeah, it was in Brazil. Everything was in Brazil. And after the construction site, I spent 1 year there. I worked in the planning part of it. So we had like the schedules of each part of the construction site, the resources, the amount of money needed. So I was an assistant of the person that actually did the entire planning. So in terms of time, cost, resources for this big construction site.
Yeah.
Very crazy. Lot of learnings too, I suppose.
Different people.
Different people, yeah, absolutely. And people that you're not gonna have like the chance to have contact with on the daily basis, because they are less educated people to some extent.
And you have to talk with them, like specific approaches.
Yeah, but more like in a humble way, to say that you learn a lot from them too. I mean, like
Yeah.
And one of the nicest things that someone told me over there was that, I mean, like, you can never plan how much work someone, how long it's gonna take for you to, build up the wall if you never lift a brick.
Oh.
So I mean, yeah.
That's why math is important, I say, for data engineer.
Yeah. And after that, I went to I completely changed the environment. I went to a consultancy company.
Oh.
I worked for 3 years over there. The environment was completely different. So I was working with the directors, with the board at the time of the company. So it was a very nice time for me to learn things. I was too young, so I could not go to the client.
So you finished at school at 19, when you were 19, then you worked in the construction, as I understand?
No, math teacher, construction, and after that consultancy.
That's a big journey, man. That's
the rest is even bigger.
This goes into 2013, to be honest. So this is like, I started the university in 2010, and this is more or less going to 2013. And so I was in this consultancy. It was super nice. I was very young at the time, so I was not the consultant going to the clients. I was more helping the boarders and the directors. So that was the time that I learned a lot about like project management, company strategies, and this kind of thing.
How business works.
In a more management style, yeah. And you asked me how Budapest came into my life.
Yeah.
They offered, in the meantime, in the university, they offered me a possibility to do Erasmus here in Budapest.
In Budapest, in which university?
I say Erasmus because it's an easier way for most of the students to understand. But it was a similar program.
Pretty much the exchange program. Okay.
Similar program to Erasmus, and I study at BME.
BME, wow.
Yeah, I did.
Shout out to all BME students here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you study there?
I did transportation and logistics at the university. At the university and things at the time, I think I learned more outside of it. It was my first experience outside. So I took my time to travel, to party, to do all the things as a young person does.
Yeah.
Especially in Budapest, yeah?
Yeah. And yeah, that was basically it. I spent 1 year in Budapest at the time, so from 2013 to 2014. When I came back, because I mean, like,
you gotta go back.
I mean, they're paying you for the the studies, right? I mean, they give you some sort of like scholarship. Sure. So I mean, like, otherwise I was gonna have to pay them back. I didn't want this. So I came back, and I went back to that consultancy company. Now a little bit more older, and now as a consultant. So like facing clients and this kind of things. And at one point, I feel like almost 1 year after I came back from Budapest, I had to take a decision in my life. Because consultancy was really nice, don't get me wrong, and even like considering the timing and my peers at university, I did receive some nice amount of money. I mean, like, I learned quite nicely, and it was super fun. But because of the consultancy schedules, I was losing a lot at the university. So there was few days that I had to work like 12 hours per day.
Oh, and you studied.
No, the problem is that it's not that every single day I was working 12 hours, but constantly I had to do extra shifts. And what ended up happening is that I could not do my classes at university and work at the same time. So I ended up missing some exams because I was working. I was in the client. So I could not leave.
So it was basically your priority at that moment was working or it was studying?
This is what I had to face. I mean, like, as much as I love, I mean, like, what I do in some terms, I mean, the paper was something that was still important.
So you needed to decide whether you want to continue working or do you want to focus on your studies, right? Was it something like this?
For me, my decision was, if I remain here, I'm not gonna finish.
All right.
Because I could not predict my time. Imagine you have like a very important exam on a Thursday, and on that specific day I was sent to the client and I could not leave.
Of course.
So it would reach the time of that I was supposed to be at university doing my exam, but I was not there. So yeah.
That's what it is. In order to make money. Yeah.
And this is where the data starts in my life, to be honest with you.
So there are a lot of tools that are available, I don't know, on the market or everywhere. So it's just people should understand that the foundation is different. So we just why do you need the data basically? Why businesses needs data? And you know there are a lot of tools out there, and you can use all of them. But what is the tool that you specifically need to solve specific issue or specific problem? So that is what you're saying, right?
Yes and no, because these questions will come up for you because eventually you find that there are many tools that do exactly the same stuff. So there are many ways to achieve the same goal. But the most important thing is still on the information part. Because there is your boss or there is someone asking you how is the percentage of sales that are destined to some particular customer. So this is an information. So this is what the guy wants you to provide him as information because he needs to know which segment to invest money, to do whatever. And after this, you will start, okay, like, oh, I need to tell what is the percentage of sales that goes to that customer. So what kind of data do I need? So I need to go to the sales data. You know what I'm saying? And after that, I will gather everything that is necessary for me to answer the question.
So basically what you're saying is that so data is not filtered, it's just raw bunch of things that they're like not sorted out, they're everywhere, and but information is a valuable thing that company uses to make decisions. So
yeah,
and basically your job is to filter this and use this data to answer the question of the company.
This is how you start in the data world.
This
is, I mean,
foundation.
This is the foundation because if you don't understand that what you provide is going to be the result of one question that was asked to you, or maybe not to you directly, but to someone else, you don't understand what data is. You can be a great coder, but you don't know how to answer a question. Your boss sometimes will come. I want to know what percentage of sales, comes from that customer. Sometimes he has the question. Sometimes he does not have the question. And you both should formulate the question at the time. So sometimes he comes with you with a very straightforward, like, I want this from you. And sometimes this will be a little bit blurry. Sometimes the client don't know what he wants for you. And this is not uncommon. This is really not uncommon. Yeah. So don't think that every single time your boss knows exactly what he wants. This is not true. I have a very funny story. This is because what you said, that is just during this time.
Go ahead. We like funny stories.
During this time, no. But during this time when I was learning how to control the entire schedule of like a construction site, resources, and if you were ahead of time, if you're before time, if you were ahead of cost, if you're I remember that I used to make like some specific targets for the guys. So I was responsible for giving the targets to the people, to the constructors. So I mean, like, oh, this is theoretically what is supposed to do for the next month. I mean, like, and if you finish this with less amount of people and with, I mean, like less time, we can even give you some, you know, like some money incentive, some money incentive. And those guys were like, I mean, they're already doing the job. I mean,
they were
like,
motivated. Right?
Some of them were a bit less control, like, but why should I do this and not the other stuff? So, but, and when I was learning this, I was learning this for myself actually, because one of the funny stories that I have at the time is because I had a very wise boss at the time. Very wise in terms of like, not even a technological perspective, but I mean, like the guy was really nice, kind. And I remember that one of the days that I needed to schedule those targets, I was out of my time, so to say. I was delayed.
Oh my God.
And I remember he coming to my desk and saying like, hey, did you already started those? And I look at him, no. And he said like, I think you should start it. No, I'm doing it. No worries, I'm doing it. And I feel like on the other day or something like this, he was coming to the room that I was working with, like passing in front of it.
Yeah.
And he did not even say anything. He just looked at me, late, right? And he smiled and laughed. So
yeah, boss is a boss.
Such people, they knew in advance.
And in this experience, right? I mean, like, so you learn for yourself too into some way. So yeah, it was.
You talking about a good boss. You know, Jack Ma, the Chinese billionaire, has a very good word saying, in your 20s you have to find a good boss that would help you in the future shaping your career. Do you agree with that? Like, do you remember that good wise boss you said, and maybe somehow he shaped your mindset?
If good, you mean fair? Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Like a mentor, right? You mean like a mentor, like a kind of a guidance.
Yes, the person can provide you guidance, but in the meantime, this person cannot be a good person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he can be, in technical terms, professionally very good, but not a good person.
Okay.
Got it.
So my suggestion is that obviously, I mean, like if you can find a good professional,
why not?
Fantastic. But if you can find a good person, for sure. This guy was both. This guy was a wise person and a very, so because, I mean, like in theory, like at the time that he saw me struggling because I was already late with the stuff that he told me that I was going to be late, I mean, like he could theoretically have come to me and saying like, and shout or, you know, like reprehend me or into some manner. But he laughed, you know, like he knew that he already saw me in the struggle. So there was nothing, I mean, like, so he noticed that I was already learning my lesson at the time.
Yeah, let's get back to data. So, Budapest.
Okay, so basically what happened, I went to Budapest, did my Erasmus, I came back to the consultancy. Aligning consultancy with the university was really tough. And there was a moment that I decided I said, okay, like I cannot do it. I cannot do both. And otherwise I will never graduate. And so this is something that was like really a must for me at the time. And I started searching for internships. And this is where the data start. Because I saw in Brazil, there is an agency called Apex Brazil. It's in theory like if I translate to English, if you search on the internet, it's investing and promoting a trading agency in the country. So in theory, like we control the Brazilian exportation results and we invest in some companies to make them export. And they had an internship at the time for the data area.
Oh.
So this is, and I can clearly remember when I applied, I saw 6 hours. I like this. And
6 hours per day.
6 hours per day, yeah, an internship. So 6 hours. and those 6 hours are fixed, right? I mean, like I'm gonna be here for the same time and leave at the same time.
Okay, whatever.
Alrighty, that's something that's dropped. I don't know what exactly.
Okay, whatever.
Alrighty, whatever. I mean, we can pause and
It's talking about Brazil, though. You see, so in theory, like what ended up happening was this. So I saw this opportunity. I thought it was nice. I knew that in terms of like CV for me at the time, could not be like they even asked me during the interview, like, I mean, like, maybe you're a little bit over the position itself, because I was already working, you know,
Full time,
full time. I mean, like even before, why would you want to go back to be an intern? And yeah, I had to explain to them what I did to you, and I got the job. And I started over there. So this is my first. This is where my first touch with data.
Yeah. So then you applied to Budapest offices, or how?
In theory, what that ended up happening was I stayed there for like 3 years, not as an intern anymore. I ended up doing like an exam, because in Brazil, like when you work for the government, for any sort of position, you should do an exam. So you compete with other people. And funny or not, the exam that I ended up doing after my internship was basically my daily job. So I mean, like, I swear God to you, I think I just passed because of this, because it was literally like, okay, what do you do on the daily basis?
Yeah.
And at the time we had the entire Brazilian exportation data by company and by product. And it was quite nice, because the goal of the agency as a whole is that we needed to support companies to actually, you know, export more. So in theory, one company that the agency supported was supposed to perform better in terms of exportations than the one that was not supported. So I could see the results. So this one exported that much, this one exported that much, and this one is supported by us, you know? So like this was the control that you used to do at the data at the time, yeah.
Yeah. That's
so in this agency, they provided services basically for the government?
Yeah, for the government, everything governmental.
To understand that, you know, in which sector we should invest, in which sector we should cut, you know, what's going, what.
Yeah, and this would even go to more like a detailed company description. So company-based, because for example, like shoes. We support those 10 companies. And for example, I had the results, and this 10 companies exported, I don't know, like X amount of, you know, like shoes. And I have the other companies, they are not supported. So I needed to kind of check, okay, like these companies here that received some money from us, from the government, so to say, to export, they really did better than the other ones that did not. So I mean, like that was the questions that we are trying to like constantly answer. So yeah.
So you worked in that place for 3 years, and then how do you suddenly, not suddenly maybe, how do you decide to go back to Budapest? How was this? Was it planned thing?
We are young, right? And our souls are young. This is the funny thing. To be quite honest, after 3 years there and kind of exhausting the possibilities of what I reached there at the time, I kind of refused to accept that my life would be like this for the rest of my life. Because in theory, so to say, I had achieved, right? So I work for the government, and for Brazil is a kind of status. I work in something that I like, so I still work in data, so it seems that I like that. But there was a moment that for me was, you know, like I needed to change. One of my friends came to Budapest, and he came through ISAC.
International organization.
Yes, those people came from ISAC. And he said, Yuri, like, I mean, like, do you want to come? And
So your friend, he was already in Budapest here.
he was already in Budapest. He said to me, I came from this. And he said to me, like, are you willing to do this? And I, like, why not? So, yeah, I applied for ESSEC for this. I forgot, it's international, professional, global internationals.
Yeah.
In their website, there are two types of volunteer. This is an important thing for people that want to come here to work. There is one that is professional and there is one that is literally just volunteer. I applied for the professional one. And so when I came to Tata Consultancy.
Yeah, Tata Consultancy.
Yeah, I came to Tata and I came to do finance.
Wow.
In Russian. So yeah.
In Russian.
Finance in Russian language.
Yes.
Or-
Do you know Russian language?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Do I know finance? Absolutely not.
Besides Russian language, our guest is graduated from CEU. I know CEU is kind of controversial in this country, but still one of the top universities. Considering that you studied in CEU business analytics and being a professional data engineering, do you think that having a degree in the field is, like specific degree, is important nowadays? Or you can just can find a job with certification or something? What do you think, Yuri?
And you see me thinking through it because there is
Sure.
a very nice way of saying that. The university itself is important, yes, because it's a kind of, for some specific cases, not particularly in Budapest, not so much, but in other countries in Europe, the paper, or so to say, the masters or the bachelors,
yeah.
the papers, they are, how do I call it, like the...
Certificates.
No. They are the minimum requirements, so to say.
Entry.
Yeah, they're the entry requirements.
Tickets.
Because otherwise you won't be considered in some occasions. If I tell you that knowledge-wise it's better, no. My answer is no to you. What I think that people should perceive in this matter is don't think that even if you got like a nice scholarship with this kind of stuff, you're still wasting no, but you're still investing a lot of time into studying and into doing your bachelor's and or master's or whatever, and you're still investing a lot of time on doing the program itself. My suggestion for you is that choose wisely the right program for you, one that it's more related to the stuff that you really want to do and need to do. And in IT specifically, now coming back to what I do, sometimes certification, it's cheaper and will bring you faster results. But like I said, I cannot tell you that the paper is not important, because in some extent the paper might be some certain like a minimal requirement.
Yeah, gate opener, let's say.
Yes, otherwise you
Wouldn't be
cannot apply.
considered,
You won't be considered.
Great.
So in CU you studied data engineering program, or did you study something else?
I did the program that was called Business Analytics.
Masters, right?
Yeah, Masters, MSc, yes. The focus of the program itself is in how to use data in business context, but it was more data science oriented into this extent. So if they call the program somewhat like the data science program, it wouldn't be would have been mistaken, yes.
Yeah.
Because a huge part of the curriculum is dedicated to AI and predictive models. So
In 2019, right? You studied.
yeah.
In 2019, they talked about. They studied AI, machine learning. They started focusing on that stuff.
Models.
Yeah. I think 2019. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which is not true.
Yeah. Thank you, Yuri. one of the questions here: what habits or routines have you found beneficial for your professional or personal growth? Like maybe you figured out some habits or some specific practices would be beneficial. we are
It's
getting
a very no, but
maybe
because,
you will drink a tea.
Oh no, because those are indeed nice questions. But before the habits, I can tell what works for me. To be honest,
go ahead.
I mean,
Sure.
and I feel this is the. So when I started IT, I really started because indeed I was lazy. So when I started coding, I started to code to reduce my time of doing stuff that I didn't want it to do. So if I could make the things that I don't want to do like faster, so I can invest my own time on doing this, even if it's like copying something from one place and pasting on another place, because some of the jobs are still like this. It's okay.
Control-C,
No, but it's okay. It's okay, and it's okay. So if the huge part of your when I started doing because of this, and naturally my demands started to come out. So I did not start myself like, okay, let me get a book of Python or R or VBA and I'm gonna study this. For me it helped, like, okay, there is this Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. I don't want to keep doing this. Is there any way to do this faster? And this is where I started coding. So I coded one part of it. So instead of spending 10 minutes, now I spend 2 or 3 minutes. And after that, 2-3 minutes became like 10 seconds. And I went to another task. Oh, this task takes me 50 minutes. And I said, I don't want to keep doing this every day.
Yeah.
So I call this monkey job. I particularly don't like it, to be honest. So I started like this. On the other hand, there are some people that they come and they get like O'Reilly, so to say, that this is the Bible for Python. And he's gonna come and tell you like exactly what is an object, what is a method, what is an attribute, and you're gonna start like from the concept and everything. Those two approaches are valid. I mean, like, I cannot tell you that don't go to O'Reilly and study this, but I think that a person that actually dedicated more time to O'Reilly knows in terms of more concepts and stuff than what I do nowadays. Although I read it later on, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, it's, for me, it worked like this because it comes out of demand. You know, like, so, the first thing that I learned was to automate a Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. And this Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, now I need to select some columns. So you kind of add up your skills in the meantime. So you start kind of... So this worked for me better. I do not disagree if you wanted to go and get the whole thing and do it. There is just one concern, and this is more related to the IT field, is that just be careful when you choose one thing to study. If you go for the second approach, just be very careful, because things in IT change very rapidly. So what's
a period? I mean, 1 year?
Depends.
Now it's like months, man. Now it's like months. Everything is changing in months, man.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I can get you an example. Like, beforehand, I used to do what you see nowadays as Power BI, for example. It came from graphs in Excel. So I was doing this in Excel before, and like, I think 2 years, 3 years later, all the codes and everything that I did for that was already automated by Microsoft itself, because they already did something to do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
the rules of game changed.
it showed up something that was already doing what you needed. So and you don't have to keep going. So just be careful when you choose something to study really deep, that these things can change. You know what I'm saying? Like they really can change.
And don't be scared, right? Don't be scared of things being changing every time, because we live in the world where every second there is something happening, some changes are happening, and I think that's a problem with the people, because when you start learning something, because we are always looking in the future, what can be future proof, or and we always look for safer options, but the thing is that you have to learn how to adapt quickly, how to adapt.
I agree with the adapter, but don't be surprised if you have to adapt to something that it's outdated. So you might get to one company that you're using a very nice tool on and you have to go back to do them manually because the other company or the other boss or someone only uses that.
Alrighty.
So I mean, like, don't be like you're gonna find different realities and different stages of maturity in each company that you go. Some companies may be more developed in one way, and the other ones that like you can get to environments that you say, okay, like now I need to go back to houses and go back to do the stuff that I was doing.
For sure.
And those decisions are usually not yours, because it's usually your boss and say, look, this is what we use. Or this is what the company paid, so...
Yeah, that's the rules. But basically, I agree with you. Yesterday I read or watched one reels, I believe. They were saying that Goldman Sachs was one of the most innovative companies in 70s in US, who settled, say, Microsoft Word, Excel, the first company. But after, in 2000s, they wanted to rechange everything, and it needed billions of dollars, which is crazy amount of money for such changes. And I think you're right on that matter, not to adapt for old stuff.
This is what I'm saying. In one place, you might have to, and this is not going to be your choice.
Yeah. Talking about companies, Yuri, you worked in very different international companies in Budapest. What experiences or challenges have you encountered due to diverse work here in Budapest? From your experience, of course. You worked in EPAM, ExxonMobil?
Yes, but those are different jobs within IT. This is an important thing, because when I describe the IT career, there are many careers that you can actually lead, or you can actually guide yourself through this path. What I usually say that it's important for you to start is answering the questions, or trying to get the questions that needs to be answered. And after that, you're, so to say, you're already working in data area without knowing that you are in data area, just letting you know. There were three different things. The most important thing is that be resilient, because when they put me to do, so I started in Tata, as I said. I was already working with IT in Brazil before, so when I moved, I transitioned the field again, but I knew that finance was not my thing.
Yeah.
And I was not gonna learn Russian so fast.
Oh my God. How did you survive on that period of time?
But this is the thing. This is... first I needed to learn, so be resilient.
Yeah, resilience.
Resilience. I don't remember most of the things that I did at the time, to be honest with you. It was kind of information that for me was okay, do this, and you learn. If you put yourself enough. My system was entirely in Russian, by the way.
Oh my God.
So we used 1C, by the way.
Your system was entirely in Russian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
what a unique experience we have here.
And like I said, be resilient and focus on things that you can control. And the amount of time that you spend doing things that you do not like is something that I could control. And it took me some time at the beginning, this is how I work. it was funny because there was this Russian lady that was checking my work at the time. And I look at her at one point and I said, like, look, I mean, like, I'm not the best at, like that you may have. And I also chose, I mean, like, if I could choose, I would also not be doing this specifically. But you need me and I need you. So, I mean, like I promise you that if you teach me, I will do I will learn and I will make those things happen because it's a win-win. It's a win for me and it's a win for you, right?
Being open, honest.
You don't have to be, you don't have to be rechecking my work at some time. So I took some time, like waking up at 4 a.m.
Oh,
like crazy, like because I needed to finish everything by 10.
mm-hmm.
Like winter, bad. And at one point, it became symbol, button. Sorry, I know there are words over there, but
No.
I call it symbol, button. And
Yeah.
this you could automate because symbol, button. Oh, I know how to do this. This means that, okay, if I find this, so I can code that. Yeah. And this is the way that I did. So I started doing all those things. So instead of arriving at the end at 4 a.m., I was arriving at 9:30. My code ran for 20 minutes. 20. Obviously, there were 2 or 3 things that could not be done, some exceptions by code that I needed to go there and do it. 10 o'clock, I was done.
Pretty much.
And this is when they started to look at me and said, oh, there's something off. I mean, like, this kid comes here, he spends like half an hour and he leaves. So there's something is wrong. I mean, like, if he was coming at 4 a.m. would be understandable, but so he's doing something. And this is when they noticed that I say, like, can you code this? And I say, yeah. So can you do this for everything that we do? And I say, yeah. So it's another position, right? If you want me to do this, I mean, like, it's another, we discussed another terms, another salary. I mean, like, this is...
Resilience, proactivity, flexibility. Yeah. For fresh graduate, like maybe in the final years, how she can set a job in data in corporate Budapest or beyond? Yeah.
I think, like I said to you, the most important thing is that you should focus on the information perspective of it. Usually people start their careers in data because it's very the positions in data are very intersectional and they are often misplaced and they often misguide people when they're applying for jobs. Sometimes a position that it's named as a data analyst can be much more than a simple data analyst, or can be much, you know what I'm saying? Like, so very often it's not uncommon for me people do not understand those concepts really well. So, I mean, like, but my suggestion for someone that wants to get into the area is first to focus on the main aspect that you were there to answer questions. And usually when people start in the field, they start with the tools that usually are used to answer those questions. Yeah. So the part that we say as the customer sees it, you know, so this is so when your boss requests you a report or a dashboard, so this is for me, like, I believe that this is the place that you should start. Especially the reporting and the area where you can talk to the client and you can answer the questions directly to him. So even before you enter in, like, how the things are done in the back of it, I would suggest you to focus on this as a
What is the typical timeline, you know, like, because as I understand, there are different steps. Like, you start as not engineer, I don't know, like data scrapping.
Data analyst.
You
usually start as a data analyst because I have different analogies for this, but I like the one that is the library. Okay. And before you become like a writer or a librarian, so to say, you first need to go to the library to read books and tell stories.
Yeah.
So this is mostly what the data analysis. So this is what this position does. Okay, so when people start in data, they start focusing on the biggest tools that people use to display data. So more important, because I mean, like you're gonna have like someone prepping you the library for you. Someone is gonna store the books for you. Very often, he's gonna get like your boss, or when you start, he's gonna get you a book and he's gonna request you to tell you the story of that book specifically. So usually when people start, they start as a data analyst. Okay, this is the most common profession that we have in data. And after that, people deviate for other parts of the spectrum. So who's gonna deal with the organizing the books? Or who's gonna write more books? Or who's gonna take care of the library and pay the bills? And like, so I mean, those things will eventually ended up happening. But people usually start as a data analyst. To answer your question, is a data analyst. In terms of progression, there are many, but it's usually they start as data analyst.
So people usually start as data analyst, and then they can choose like whether they want to be in the back end, or they want to go into research, and what are the career options after you started as a data analyst, and what are the preferences?
Okay. So when you start, the first thing that you need to learn, as I said, and this is why I'm always coming back to it, because people forget this is the main point of it, is to answer the questions. I mean, like, so you can be very good at whatever thing, but if you don't answer the questions, it doesn't matter, honestly. So you start as a data analyst. Usually people that work in this area, they work creating reports. So you have like for example, some sales data, and the questions come in, and you should create this report or a dashboard for for your boss. Usually the biggest tools that we have from the market on this are usually Power BI is the first one. There is Tableau and there is ClickView. Okay,
visualizations.
And they're exclusively for visualization. Some of them have some tools that prep the data for you, organize the books, and do everything nicely. But the main goal of those things is to really display something for you, to make it like that table become like some nice chart or some like some visualization or some story. There is a funny thing, is because IT grew up so much, and this is one of the stuff that I also thought about like coming here, is because people have been telling me that the IT bubble was going to explode since I entered it, and I'm now like 12 years old on the few. 12 years old working, but I mean working in IT like 9 to 10 years, so to say, and it never did. So I mean, like, this is an important thing that I might tell you. And what with time I ended up seeing was the sake that there were three main categories, so to say, within the data field. Obviously, you can have some more deviations from those, but there are three main categories. The first person is the person that really likes the storytelling part.
So displaying.
Yeah, I mean the displays and this kind of stuff. So the person really likes it. I mean, like, he likes to tell stories, and eventually he's gonna like to create other ones. So not only answer the question like, our sales was 20% this month for this guy, but I think it will be 25 next month. You know what I'm saying? So the guy is not only nice on storytelling, I mean, in this extent, but he wants to even predict the future, as we say. So where it goes, that this is where people start with AI, machine learning, and this kind of parts. There is another part of it, and this is what I ended up deciding. So, funny or not, my CU prep me for the first one, but I do another thing. And in IT is a very interesting thing that once I learned everything about the information itself and dealing with the client and everything, I started to be more concerned with the methods. So how the library is organized, who pays the bill, why the library uses this
further, deeper,
and why the library uses this drawers and not the other drawers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you start being concerned more with not only the data infrastructure, that would be the data engineer, so the person that makes the catalogs of the books and everything, but who supports the entire library to work.
Whole system.
In order for you to go to a library, there should be a librarian over there. Someone that controls like who enters in the library.
What books?
What books, like I lend you, what books, like when you should give back those books to me. So
dates,
access, infrastructure.
For sure.
And I see a lot of popping up things regarding to this. And even within this can go many ways. I mean, like this can go to security. The infrastructure can be more infrastructure related to security, can be infrastructure more related to data, so data engineer.
And you are in that area.
And can be, I am a data engineer. I'm more concerned with the infrastructure of the data, but nowadays I'm more concerned with the structure of everything, to be honest.
Solution architect.
So this is where the architect comes in.
And the third you say, first is...
So what I'm telling you about those two is that, because people might think that the person that tells stories, there was a hype every time that people talk about AI and
machine
learning this, machine learning that. People don't have like even the basic understanding about how those things work. And this is much more hype. I mean, it's
sure.
It's awesome what the AI can do. I mean, like I'm not denying it, like far away from that, but there was a hype.
Even artificial intelligence that we have now, it's not exactly the artificial intelligence. It's more a simulation of that, right?
No, not in these terms. I'm talking about more on the way that predictive modules and AI work.
Yeah.
So if I can describe to you how AI work, I will have to go in deeper into some stuff that I don't particularly want to. The most important thing is that AI was hyped. I understand the hype because of the the nice outcomes that it could already provide. But very often this cannot be applied into reality. And I will tell you why. Because in order to apply AI, you have to be in a very good library where all the books are separate, where all the stuff are done.
Analyst.
When you have like and this is absolutely not what you see on the reality. So I said about 3, right? So you asked me, there is the AI guy or the guy that tells the stories and creates new stories. And it will be like the guy that deals with the library itself. So the guy that deals with the architecture and this kind of things. In terms of salary-wise, to be honest with you, those people are more or less the same. People think that will be people think there will be a very huge discrepancy in terms of like because this guy is AI, because it's more complex, and people that deal only with the architecture and this kind of stuff because it's a needed job. I mean, like people ended up earning more or less the same. And there is a third position that we eventually also earn more or less the same as those 2 other people. If I could describe that, going a little bit outside the analogy as this, is that the third position in IT is because the biggest difficulty of IT people is to talk.
For sure. Going through the Nokia's office, I often find out where I am by silence.
But not that. I mean, like, understanding the basic principles of information and talking to the client being able to negotiate, being able to
what to say, how to say.
exactly. So there is a person, I swear God to you, and usually those positions are usually often referred as business analysts.
Got it.
So it's the person that translates the requirements from the customer to the IT. Because eventually what happens is that the IT wants to do his work, that is develop. And there is someone that it's coming over there to make their requirements. So translate to them, like instead of the guy stopping, going to the meeting with the client, and getting everything that he needs to be done and translate this into codes, there is someone that is constant on chat with the client, and he's telling to the guy what he needs to do in terms of IT. This is a position that is quite common, and to be honest, if you are good at it, if you kind of succeed into this position, you can earn as much as the other two guys earn, or even more. And to be honest, it will be like the end of the position would be, as we call, like a project manager, IT project manager. You start usually as a BA, and after that you do this.
Yeah.
You asked about the previous things. So in Exxon, I was, as we call, like a full stack developer. I needed to deal with the infrastructure a bit. I needed to deal with the visualization, and I needed to talk to the client. So I was the three of those guys. And this is what I'm telling you, that this intersectionality in IT happens. Very often you as a BA will have to do some visualization.
For sure.
A guy that is a data science will have to clean up the data. Don't get me wrong, you need to understand those things, although you might be focused on one side, on the other side. So in Exxon, I worked in the three of those things. So I talk to the client, I make what he saw, the visualization, and I worked in the...
Translated through the...
And I worked in the back part of it to get the data, to do all this kind of stuff. On EPAM, specifically, I worked exclusively in BA. So I was the guy only translating the requirements. So I had a team of developers under me, and I had like the client, and I was the person negotiating with the client.
Third guy, right? VA.
No, the first.
First guy.
So it will be the third. Yeah, it will be the third guy, so to say. Like the guy that makes these translations.
Yeah,
so
bridging.
BA means business analyst,
Yeah.
and this guy that does this thing. So I was working on that. So I was not developing, and I was not taking care of none of this. I was only translating requirements. And today I do only the librarian part. I do only the infrastructure. So I don't talk to the client anymore. I don't remember how is it. So and I deal only with this side.
Great.
What is your favorite part? Like, what is your personal favorite part? What do you enjoy doing? Or is it not kind of question, or you just want to explore everything?
It was fun is because I do understand that many IT people have difficulties on talking to people. And so if you ask like the majority of the IT people, they will say like the part that I do not face the customer, that I don't talk. So, or librarian, like the guy that it's really on the back of it that you do not see, and he's like, he only talks with the BA guy, the guy that translates, and that's basically it. I like the heavy part, to be honest. But I was really good at talking to people. And why nowadays I think I prefer more the back than talking to people is that the BA part, and this is the most difficult thing. It's very difficult to find someone that it's capable of talking to the person, to the client, and also capable of talking to the IT guy. Because if within the IT world, specifically when you're talking about this guy, the heavy guy, the really heavy IT guy, it's very difficult for you to earn his respect if you do not know what you're talking about.
That's pretty much
So
it.
you cannot come with management talk to this guy. I'm sorry, he's gonna, and he can trick you. And this is because you are the person that tells the client, this is gonna have to be done in 5 days. And you should tell the guy 5 days, but you should know that the activity that he should do will take more or less 5 days. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very tricky, it's a really, really tricky position.
Yeah.
And codes are more easy to control than people. People get sick.
Emotions.
People start wars in the middle of your project.
Yeah. Gotta go cool. But from perspective of salary wise, you said it's pretty much equal. But in the long run, what would be their, increasing? I heard that heavy guys, the first and second, would get more than BAs. What you think about that? Or they will keep in that traction?
That depends. I will tell you to go for what you like. It's very important that being a BA does not allow you to stop studying and stop getting to know the technologies and the stuff that the other people are doing. Because for you to be a good BA, you first needed to be a good developer, usually. Very often no, but you can see the difference because you can tell the person you can negotiate with the client more or less how much time it will take to do. And you can also negotiate with your developer much better.
Got it.
So I know IT project managers that they earn thousands of money, and I know guys that they're heavy guys that they earn thousands of money too. So difficult to say.
Great.
What piece of advice would you give for students who know that they want to get into data and who are really committed to do this?
The majority of your world is going to happen outside university. As much as you think that your grades are important, the relationships and the networking that you do while you're in university is more important, if not more important than your grades. When you get to the market, and if this is what you want to do, it doesn't matter if you're a A++ student or if you were a C grade guy. The most important is how much contact do you have with clients, customers, and real scenarios, because this will get you more. This will get you constantly more involved with the businesses.
With the market,
with the businesses. So as junior enterprises, internships. Anything that can get you in contact faster with more people and more networking. I think this will be more. This will be more useful for you in the future. That's correct.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Yeah. So I think that we're gonna just start with the questions about the Hungary.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Already.
That's my history class, I suppose.
That's not gonna be the hardest part.
Okay.
All right. What is a traditional Hungarian stew known for its spicy flavor and red color?
I suppose it's goulash soup.
Yeah, that's
it's
goulash.
hard to me. I like it, by the way. It's my favorite. This and kurtos goulash.
Wow, kurtoshka, it's crazy.
But do you take it do you buy it every day or once in a while, or how is it like? Do you cook it?
At home, my girlfriend does because she's half Hungarian. So we have some.
Some traditional, right? Some traditional thing.
Yeah.
But kurtos goulash, do you eat it with ice cream or?
No, traditional.
No.
Cinnamon. Cinnamon, that's it.
Already.
The thing is, it good by itself. If you make too much amendments to it, I won't judge, okay? Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
The ice cream is a good one.
Nutella, chocolate, it's always good. So
but cinnamon is a core.
Already. Which famous Hungarian composer is known for his compositions for piano and orchestra, including the Hungarian Rhapsodies? Or Rhapsodies, I'm not sure.
It's, I guess, the name of our airport, Budapest airport.
Liszt Ferenc.
Ferenc, yeah.
Ferenc
Liszt
Liszt.
Ferenc.
It says
like
Franz
Jack
Liszt, but yeah, I think it's for
Yeah,
Franz
France
Liszt,
is
yeah.
like
Is he
European.
Hungarian? Yeah.
Yeah, he
Fully
is.
Hungarian.
But there are a lot of Hungarians that are, they're half
Very famous,
Hungarians.
yeah.
I made a TikTok like 2 years ago, and then there Louis C.K. he's half Hungarian. Calvin Klein has Hungarian roots. There are like a lot
The
of
guy who invented Excel.
yeah.
that's good.
There there is Rubik Cube. He's also
Yeah.
the guy who made it. Yeah.
This I know.
That's for sure.
Already. The next question is, which UNESCO World Heritage Site in Budapest is known for its Gothic revival architecture and is largest building in Hungary? That's tricky.
Can you translate
That's a tricky
Orszak
one.
Ház?
Boy, I don't know. Like there are many UNESCO heritage sites here. I feel like if you go, the Fisherman Bastion is one of them, but I do not think it's the biggest one or the biggest building.
It's a pretty straightforward question. Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's Hungarian Parliament.
the
Yeah.
parliament.
Or
Yeah,
Orszak
the
Ház,
parliament.
Yeah.
Great.
For sure, it was the most expensive. So this is undoubtedly. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how much, but
The
undoubtedly
details
the
say
most
itself.
expensive. Yeah,
Yeah.
the most expensive.
Already. During which annual festival do Hungarians celebrate with the folk dances, music, and traditional costumes to commemorate the foundation of Hungarian state? Basically, what is the day of foundation of Hungarian state?
The foundation of the Hungarian state.
Yeah.
I think it's a day when they go with fires.
Oh, the day of like this. Okay, I'm not so sure if this is this day, but the most important holiday for them is 20th of August.
Yeah, that's a
Good,
Saint
good,
Stephen's Day.
Yeah.
It's called.
Saint
Alright,
Stephen.
So the guy that brought Christianity. So this
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
First king.
1896. Okay. Yeah, this I
Oh,
know.
that's pretty much, yeah.
Name the traditional Hungarian spice made from ground peppers that is essential in many Hungarian dishes.
Essential? No, it's mandatory. It's paprika.
Why
And
not? Of
if
course.
it was only essential, we would find like a few times, not all of the times, but yeah, paprika.
Yuri. What kind of 3 books would you recommend to young fellas?
What are you reading?
Maybe,
do you like fiction or do you like
the ones who
non-fiction?
changed and shaped your mindset or life. Like,
Do you like non-fiction or do you like fiction?
I prefer non-fiction. To be honest with you, I really do prefer non-fiction.
yeah.
I'm trying to deviate from the fact that because I'm Christian, I read a lot of like
Spiritual.
Louis, Chesterton. I'm reading those guys at the moment. I think like for a book that I would totally recommend you to read. If you like, I think I would. It's in terms of like fantasy wise, I would recommend 1984
For sure.
from George Orwell. I think it's a good one. Like Animal Farm too, it's a really good one too. But if you kind of get like what would be my favorite book of all time, or the one that describes quite well what I believe, I think it's Orthodoxy from Chesterton.
Chesterton. Great. Yeah.
Yes. Because
I
he
heard
really
about it.
describes the Catholic faith in a way that I like. But this is what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
no.
for the other students that are not, I mean, like maybe like George Orwell will be like, you call
mean-
me out-handed on this one.
No. It's totally.
No. This is a cool one. If you don't want to read the Can't Hurt Me from from David Goggins, you read the one that he lived with the guy that he lived with James Itzler or something like this.
Yeah.
So the name of the book is like Living with a CEO from the Special Forces. So
Got it.
SEAL.
Crazy.
American SEAL, right? Like
Yeah. And the comedian guy tells like how it was to live with him for 30 days. So this is a funny book. This is a really funny book.
So
That's my recommendation.
what are the most important parts of our conversation?
Okay.
Just summarize.
the first lesson, you won't do everything that you like the majority of the times. And it doesn't matter if you chose and if you got the job of your dreams, when you realize it, 60% of it will be, or 70, will be some stuff that you don't like to do. So be resilient. That's the first thing. The majority of the time is not what you dreamed, but you get closer to it every single day. The second, a very important lesson, data. Data is one thing, information is another. Information is what people seek. So information are the questions. If you want to work with data, please focus on the second part, not in the first one. Because one leads the other. The information will lead you to better questions to this other stuff. In terms of like career prospects and everything, universities are important. They usually set, how do I say, the minimal requirements for most of the positions, but the real touch word of the market, you can only get it if you start doing things related to that. Even if it's a podcast or selling a product or doing an internship, I mean, like working experience will be valid for you regardless of which working experience we're talking about. Every single position will teach you something. And even if you start doing this initially for the money, this will get you the basis from what you got over there. And I think like about IT is that there are places for everyone. If you're really that geek guy that stays in, like in your basement and you particularly don't enjoy talking to people, there are positions for you. But there are also positions if you're a very creative guy, if you
talkative.
People usually think that IT people are only the introvert ones, and this is absolutely not true.
Not the
because
thing.
we have positions nowadays that are related to IT, like they're related to IT that they're needed. So there is a space for everyone. The bubble didn't explode, like surprisingly, and we keep evolving. So every single day, more opportunities come.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think if I can resume,
Thank you very much.
Those are the really four things, and focus on yourselves too. I mean, like your life is much bigger than only the job itself.
Yep.
My pleasure. Like I said, I mean, like I'll leave my LinkedIn. Facebook and Instagram.
For sure, we will
by any
attach it
means
everywhere
one of
there.
the students and they have like any more specific question related, because I mean like I don't want to enter and
For sure.
make you like bother you so much that we all sleep here. So if you have like more specific questions about like a tool or a coding language or something that you wanted more in detail and more technical details than the ones that we got here, like no worries.
Thank you very much.
Feel free to contact.
That would be great.
So I mean, like if you guys by any means like you want to reach out, just let me know and send a message, and
Alrighty, we're good to go, I think. Yeah, thanks, man.
Appreciate it, sir.
Alright, let's just take a picture for a thumbnail.
Oh yeah, absolutely.